welcome back to the 20th Century Dude channel. As you can probably tell outside, if you can hear, it is pouring down quite a bit, although I think I'll take the rain over the snow and the sleet and ice we've been getting for several months, so I guess better rain than that. Anyway, today's video we have here, it's a steel tin of 15 older John Wayne movies, and these are all, well, not all of them, but some of his B-westerns that he did in the 1930s. And for some of you who don't know what a B movie is, back in the day when they did double features, they would have what's called the A side, which is like the movie with the highest budget, is most well done, sometimes more than likely to win an Oscar or something like that. It's your typical well-made film, while the B film is one done with a cheaper shoestring budget, not as much time and effort put into it. And back in the day, before there was television, if you wanted to get your entry into film, sometimes you basically either had to start from B films or somewhere else smaller, but so John Wayne has been known to be in quite a few B-westerns in the 1930s, and I found this specific tin at the thrift store, I think 2 years ago, and I kind of overjoyed, ooh, more John Wayne movies, and didn't realize they were his B-westerns. And after doing a thorough watch through all of them, I think we're going to come to the analysis and conclusion of whether these are really any good and what would be the decent ones of the bunch. So I think, honestly, let's just get started and get saddled up and rolling. So as you may notice out of the box, on each disc there are about 3 movies, and the movies themselves are only about like an hour or a little under an hour. And I think, according to the back of the box, where does it say where it's at? Yeah, total running time, 14 hours. So you could very well just brush through all of them in a single day if you really wanted to. I mean, it's going to only take 2.5 hours to get through on each disc. But you get the description and the years that they were made. Some say 34, some are 35. I think there might be a, yeah, there's a 1933 over here. And, yeah, so you get 5 of these discs with all the movies on there. And inside, we have, there we go, it's a little booklet. Gives you a bio of John Wayne, and then like that over there we have the description for each movie in the book. So there was one I wanted to point out, and I came to the conclusion that there's actually a typo in here. Forget which one it is. Yeah. So the title, for whatever reason, they couldn't get it right when they were manufacturing this. The title here says this film's called Randy Rides Alone. And on the box, it says Randy Rides Again. That's a bit of an oopsie, so I would have thought they would have took care of that, but I guess not. It's amazing what you can find later when somebody essentially wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. For the most part, these John Wayne B-westerns just kind of blend in after a while. I wouldn't say that there's a repetitious formula to them, but none of them stand out the way other movies in his filmography do, like McLintock or The Searchers or The Shootist or Angel and the Badman for that matter. Obviously, that is because those are the more well-done A pictures and not these half-put-together B pictures. But I do wonder how often they use stuff like the same sets, the same props, the same shooting locations. Heck, I even wonder if there's any repeating footage as far as the horse chase scenes are concerned, because a lot of them just sort of look like the same to me, although I can't be too sure. It wouldn't surprise me anyway. And I think because of the sameness, that's why I can't really tell you what the stories are half the time, unless you open up the booklet and read it that way. But I think it kind of sucks that you have to read the pamphlet of the movie description and remember what it was that you just watched. Because if you can't retain otherwise, then I don't know. I mean, that's what we call not making it a good movie, because then you don't even remember what it was 5 minutes after you watched it. Although now that I think about it, maybe it wouldn't be a great idea to watch these back to back, because they just seem to morph together after a while. Maybe it is their very nature, considering they were churned out B films for double features back in the day, but who knows. As far as the quality of the films goes, concerning the DVDs they are on, they weren't exactly a professional remaster. I mean, this does come from Madison Home Video, and I'm pretty sure they independently released this stuff. The tin set that all these films was released in, I think, was in the mid 2000s. I don't know whether Wayne's B films would be worthy of a 4K remaster, but this is definitely far from that quality. Even for 2005, the quality is very pixelated, like the kind of pixelation you get from like a poor internet streaming service when, your connection starts to dip. I know this is an independent release from like 20 years ago, but the low quality is enough to be kind of distracting at times. Occasionally, from wherever Madison Video sources the films from, it becomes clear right off the bat that something was taken literally right off of videotape. Like the kind of videotape that was on those cheap public domain stuff from back in the day. That will really make the quality dip, and in case, I don't know if some of the B films were harder to find than others, but nonetheless, the quality on the disc varies from source to source depending on where they get it from, but it is still pretty lo-fi. There were a few of the films as well where it sounds like they put together a brand new soundtrack and sound effects, so it does sound digitally remastered. So I don't know whether that means some films were actually, easier to remaster than others, or whether they just literally plopped them on the disc. Although maybe it was just something that they made from scratch, because maybe the audio that the original film source was from was either just, that degraded or wasn't there at all. I can't really tell, but there are a couple of them this where the audio, as far as like music and whatnot, sounds like it's pretty new. My friend Birgit Fleming, who I do the Is a Broker Fixable series with on this channel, has a few of the same films on Betamax tape. And these would probably be some of the same public domain ones that I mentioned before. While a DVD would have higher quality compared to a beta tape, in some ways I feel like I'd rather watch these on the tape format, because while the tape would be softer in image and probably grainier, the grain would at least be like looking natural considering what I'm watching it on, compared to the DVD set where the low quality pixelization just really appears distracting most of the time. And of course, some movies look more pixelated than others. Overall, I suppose if you really wanted to look for some John Wayne films outside of his stuff in the main career, then this is definitely a place to look. It is in his early days, so you'll see how much he's changed since then. Although in other ways, maybe not so much has changed in terms of Wayne's acting style. He seemed to have always been the tough ultra American hero he was years later. But anyway, these are just a handful of the early Western days of John Wayne. Quality wise, the specific DVD set could be better, but movie wise, I personally think they either range from forgettable to about half okay ish. Maybe the viewers of this video will get more out of them than what I did, but it's still worth keeping for physical reference, anyways. A look into the past that is now no more. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning into the 20th Century Dude channel, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hope to catch you on the fly. Also, I am going to be playing some clips from some of these westerns for those who are interested to pad out the time. So enjoy.